Hello, welcome to Friendship Moments. You know, we're here at the little church by the road. We're so glad you're watching our videos and we're hoping you're receiving a blessing from them. And if you're ever in the area, stop by Friendship Baptist Church. We're right there on Highway 72 and we'd love to have you. You might come as a stranger, but I promise you that you will leave as a friend. You know, today my devotional is entitled Wonders of God's Grace. And the Apostle Paul had a thorn in his flesh. And my thoughts on that is when Jesus struck him down on the road to Damascus, that it did something to his eyes. It might have burned his cataracts or something of that sort. And I kind of think that was the thorn of the flesh. I'm not sure. I couldn't stand on that, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. But the deal was, Paul asked God 3 times to remove that thorn from his flesh, and God, he hears all prayers, and he answered Paul. And Paul wrote it down in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9, and he says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." And you know, grace is one of the most beautiful gifts that God has given to us. It's completely undeserved, and it's freely given, and it's endlessly available. It's the love of God reaching down to lift us up when we cannot lift ourselves. Now, grace meets us not when we have it all together, but when things are going good, but when we're broken, when we're weary, and we haven't aware that we have a need. Now, Paul learned that God's grace wasn't just a one-time thing. It was a daily walk and a way to keep going. You know, there was many times when the Apostle Paul was persecuted. He was in prison. He was stoned. He was shipwrecked. There was just endless times that God's grace pulled him through. In weakness, grace becomes power. In failure, grace becomes forgiveness. And in confusion, grace becomes peace. Now, when you stumble, and we all do stumble, grace says, "Get up, I'm not done with you yet." Now, when you feel unworthy, grace whispers, "You are loved, not because of what you do, but because of who I am." Remember what Jesus said in John? I am. Well, you can't earn grace. You only have to receive it. It's enough for every sin, every sorrow, and every problem that you will ever have in your life. And why do we need God's grace? Romans chapter 3, verse 23 and 24 puts it very plain and simple. "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by His grace through redemption that came by Jesus Christ." It's God's unearned favor, His love and mercy poured out on people who could never earn it. Grace is not only what saves us, but it's also what sustains us. We need grace to forgive others, even when it's painful. To keep believing when we are crumbling, and to start over when we just plain old mess up. I'd like to ask you, where have you seen God's grace at work in your life today? What burden are you carrying that God's grace wants to lift away from you today? I want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you receive a blessing from it, and have a wonderful day. God bless you.